Yeah, I think I'll do that. Good morning, colleagues. Hope you are all fine and you enjoyed the tour. Now we are getting to our program. Let me indicate that we are so fortunate. We still have the National Archives Advisory Council members and their chair. They are still with us from the day we started until today. I've seen some provincial heads, Mr. Mahalifa, and the other colleagues, which I might not have identified. Our presenters in the hall and abroad. Abroad, I mean virtually. You are welcome. We are officially starting the other part of our program, which I am the program director, and I'm Jabu Katingi, a member of National Archives Advisory Council. I'll hand over to item of opening and welcome to Ms. Khanyi Ngobo from National Archives of South Africa. Over to you, Khanyi.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Those that have logged in online as well. I would like to acknowledge again the presence of the National Archives Advisory Council. I would like to acknowledge the heads of provincial archives that have logged in online. I would also like to acknowledge all the colleagues from the different departments, all protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the second last day of our program. We have had a beautiful program, a good program since the beginning of this week with the presence of the Deputy Minister as well as the MEC, which shows that there is really a buy-in and support that you are getting from our political principals. It has been a good program this far. We have had the involvement of the learners from different schools around Galeshewe and around Kimberley. So we would like to acknowledge as well the Department of Basic Education who has made that possible for this program to also take place. We have worked very closely with the McGregor Museum, with SALGA, with Africana Museum, UNISA, and the Sol Plaatje University. That really is a way of actually showing us that from now onwards, working in silos is not actually going to work for us. We really need to support each other and try by all means to find programs that will bring us together, that the work that we do as archivists, as records managers in the different departments. I think you have learned a lot as well from this process. There is still more that is coming. Tomorrow we are celebrating the International Archives Day, which is an international event that is celebrated by archives throughout the world. So it is quite an exciting period for us as the National Archives, as provincial archives. I'm going to request again the members of the Archives Advisory Council to actually stand up so that you can see them, because they've actually played a crucial role in ensuring that this program also takes place, in ensuring that we have the support as well as all other programs that would be having going forward. I need to mention again that they would be playing a crucial role in the review of the archives legislation that we are currently reviewing. So may I kindly request for you to stand up. I want to put you on the spot so that when there are problems in future or where there is a point of recognition, then you are. Can we give them a round of applause, colleagues, including our program director? The committee is not complete, I must say. It is supposed to be also represented by the heads of provincial archives advisory committees, who also form part of the bigger committee. So there are ministerial appointments, which are the colleagues that you have seen today that I've requested for them to stand up, but also they are provincial representatives who form part of the advisory council. They are there to ensure that there is implementation, there is compliance, there is support that is given to provincial archives so that we can ensure that we have a standardized principles and operations in the provinces. So colleagues, we have 9 provincial archives who have a similar program in the different provinces. I'm just going to put one of them on the spot who is here from Mpumalanga, Mr. Nkating, if you can stand up so that colleagues can see you. Where are you? Mr. Nkatingi? Sorry, Mr. Mahalifa? He went outside, okay. So you can really see, colleagues, that there is a lot happening in provinces. It's just that we are lacking a bit in terms of marketing and communicating our events and ensuring that in provinces there is also that support. So with those few words, colleagues, I would like to thank you and to welcome you to this second last day of our. I would like to thank you and to welcome you to this second last day of our.
Thank you so much. We are done with opening and welcome. Thank you, Kanye. Thank you, National Archives. We know very well that if we're not having National Archives, the issues of records management, archiving, and oral history wouldn't be sound in the country. Thank you very much. Without any waste of time, we are moving to the first presentation of today. The presentation comes from a person who has been teaching in ecclesiastical history at the University of South Africa for 42 years. She has been an active member of Oral History Association of South Africa, which we call it OHASA, since 2006. In 2010, she became OHASA's head of publications, a position she still holds. She was the editor of the Oral History Journal of South Africa until 2018, when it became Social Memory Studies, which is an accredited journal. She is also the editor of Stadia Historia Ecclesiasticae, which is also an accredited journal. She has engaged in a variety of oral history projects, for instance, on the history of Nanasita. She has also written History of OHASA, which is in the 20th year of existence in 2023. Who can be this person? One and only, Christina Landman. Prof, over to you.
Sanbonani, Dumelang. Good people, I believe cannot address you in gender terms anymore. Why should I? Why should I say brothers and sisters? Or why should I say ladies and gentlemen? I don't know. Are there any ladies here? Because I thought a lady is actually a you know, a British woman of leisure. Huh? So are there any ladies here? Hope not. 5 to 28 October in the 24 in the Manhattan Hotel in Pretoria. And that is why in this year we will hold our 20th annual oral history. So the past 20 years, UHASA has archived the papers delivered at the conferences through videos, but through publications in academic journals and in conference proceedings. Now, that is a challenge, but it is also a problem, because now the only way in which we archive all these masses and masses of papers that are being given is through conference proceedings and through our journals. We have a journal, the Oral History Journal of South Africa. I should have placed a picture there, but I want to show it to you how it actually looked. In 28, because it was not accredited, and the hardcore historians say, no, we cannot accredit Oral History Journal, because oral history is not history. It's not a record which you can put in an archive. And so we changed from the Oral History Journal to the Social Memory Studies, which is part of an accredited journal. Our conference proceedings are beautiful. I only have the latest one here, and maybe I should send it around. I should actually enough, of course. So we have the Oral History Journal and the Social Memory Studies and the conference proceedings in which we publish them. But the problem is that, you know, we have, during the past 20 years, we have about 40 speakers per conference. So every time, so now after 20 years, we have about 800 papers. But the point is, there are about 60% of the people who come to the conferences, even more, I think it's nearer to 70% of the people who come to the conference to give papers on oral history, on their projects, are practitioners, people living, working in archives. They are not academics. So they don't want to present their papers for publication. They say, no, you know, it won't be accepted. So we lose all those papers. We don't know where they are. They have this wonderful research in them, but we can't publish them because they are not presented as academic papers. Then, since 2010, we have learners, about 200 learners were trained. We go to schools and train them to come and give papers. And we haven't published any of those papers. So all those papers are lost, you know. And then since 2010, we have organic intellectuals. You know what an organic intellectual is? Somebody who is sort of the village-wise person. And then they would come and they would present papers. But again, we don't publish it. So all that research, all that wisdom is gone because we only publish academic articles. And then what is the problem then is that eventually of these 800 papers, 800 plus papers, if you add the learners and you add the intellectual organics, about 1,000 papers with good oral history research, they are not published. We publish only 6.5% of them eventually, only 6.5 in our conference proceedings and in our journals. That is the problem of archiving oral history. Fantastic research is being done, but they don't get published. Okay, the second scenario, the second story I want to tell is about an author who published somebody else's interviews under his name. Just a simple story, but with huge consequences. I'm the editor of this thing with a long Latin name. And one of the authors submitted an article based on oral interviews, which he claimed he himself has conducted. It later came to light that while he was a postgraduate student, he and others conducted interviews for the institution for a specific project, and all these interviews were archived within the institution's archives, but they were handwritten. and they were typed on a typewriter, you see. So they were not published. So when we get an article for publication in a journal, we put it through Authenticate or we put it through Authenticate or Turnitin, plagiarism detectors. But these plagiarism detectors can only detect something that has already been published or is on the internet. It cannot tell you, listen, this person has taken a handwritten interview from an archive, photostated it, and is now presenting it under his name. So when this was discovered, the editor had to withdraw the article. There was a huge outcry from the author